Hi everybody, hope you've all been well. I've been working on a few projects. This one, little dainty summer bracelet I've been working on, which is really sweet. I think it's really pretty, really summery, really light, absolutely beautiful. And those beads are stunning. It's reversible, not that you'd wear it reversible because it kind of domes over, but when you take it off it looks just as nice underneath as it does on the top. So yeah, with a little extension loop. So I'll be doing a tutorial on that shortly, coming up. I made that up really. I designed that component myself, just fiddling around, mucking about with the beads. I bought these watermelon jade from the bead fair, which I absolutely love. They feel nice, they're just absolutely gorgeous little crystals. So yeah, that's what I made this out of. So that will be coming up soon. And I made a little snake bracelet here with a two-headed snake, which I might redesign a bit there because I might not leave the tails in. I might add the head directly to that. And it's just a little magnetic clasp. Yeah, and today's project that we're going to be working on is this lovely beaded chain, which I've been working on. I made it because I had this lovely little pendant which I broke the chain and just wanted a new one, so I made this with 15 seed beads. It's absolutely gorgeous. It feels and kind of behaves like a real, just like a real chain would. It's very light, very comfortable. It did take a while to make, a little bit fiddly with the 15 You can do it with 11 but I think it, looks much nicer with the 15s. So yeah, this is the piece we're going to work on today. So if you want to learn how to make this lovely chain, stick around and we'll get started on this. All we need for today's tutorial will be some 15 seed beads, a size 11 needle and a clasp of your choice. I have actually used some of those wire protectors, if you can see there, and I've put seed beads around them, and then I've used some split rings rather than a normal jump ring, because I find jump rings sometimes come open and they let you work down. So yeah, if you want to make this beautiful chain, we'll move everything aside and let's get started. Okay, so all you're going to need for this project is your 15 seed beads. So we're going to pick up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 seed beads. I don't know if I dare come in any closer. I could try. Just go terribly out to focus if we go too close. So you can have 4 of your seed beads. You can do this in different sizes, but I find the 15 make the most delicate, sort of more realistic looking chain. You can do it with 11 if you don't feel comfortable with these tiny 15 Right, so coming up here, I'm going to go right through all the beads again, all the way through. Make a little circle. Oops. Bring that down. You want to leave a nice long tail to use for your clasp when you get to the other end. So then you're going to go back up 2 more of your beads, so they sit next to each other like that. So I'm going to go back up these 2. Oh, I don't know if I can get it in there. It's always more fiddly on camera. Right, so back up those 2. Goodness sake. Back up those 2. So that they're coming out either side like that, of the 2 beads on the top. Then what we're going to do, just going to hold the thread over like that, just to keep it secure. To pick up each time, we're going to pick up 2 beads, 2 of our 15 and we're coming out of this top right hand side, so we're going to go in through the left hand side, the bead beside the one that your thread's coming out of. That's where you're always going to be going in. So I'm going to pull that through. Making sure that your thread sits on top. Once you get going it'll be much easier. It's always the start that's a bit fiddly. Now pull that, just pop it into place and then it will twist like that, so your thread's now coming out of here, top corner. Then we pick up another 2. And we're coming out of the top right hand side here. So we're going to go through the bead beside that, beside the one with the thread already out, coming out of it. And each time it will kind of twist like so, but there'll always be your 4 sitting on top. And don't look at it from the side like that when you're trying to bead, just hold it upright like this so you can see above. So you've got 2 there, 2 there, and threads coming out of that top right hand side. Sorry, 2 here and 2 here. Threads coming up the top right hand side. Again, we want 2 of our seed beads, and then we're going to go in through that bead on the left hand side at the top, beside the one that the thread's coming out of. Like so. My tail thread caught now, look. Let's get that out of there. Oops, it's tangled up. There we go. And then pull. And if you give it a little gentle tug, look, it just pops into place, kind of by itself, like so. Do that again, 1, 2, in through the bead beside the one where your thread's coming out, which is here, top right. So going through the top left, adding 2 beads. Keep getting that tail thread caught. Once we get a bit further away from the end, that won't keep happening, I hope. So yeah, just give it a little wiggle like that, and it should pop into place. And again, 2 more of your 15 seed beads, and this is simply all you're going to do. Keep repeating this. So you're coming up the top right, go in through the top left, and pull. And then I'll just give it a little, you need to that time, look, it's just fallen into place, like so. And then 2 more. And in through there, just like so. Keep doing that. And you'll see it's starting to twist, look, can you see? It's starting to form that little twist already. So just keep going like that. Each time you'll have your 4 on the top, which will look like that. Adding 2 beads and through that top left every time. And just give it a little, there you go. And it just pops into place, just like so. Just picking up the 2, letting it sit this way, popping up through that one beside it, beside the one with the thread coming out, and pull. And if you keep going like this, pop it like that, and it twists around. So we were that way and then it twists, you see? See how it twists? And it just gets easier and easier as you go, because the pattern really becomes more evident. Whereas it doesn't really show that pattern at first and it seems like a jumble, but it really will fall into place. So pull and pops with a 4 like that each time, and eventually after a little while you will get this, which is such a pretty effect. It really does look like a chain. It's got a lovely twist to it, and once that's on your piece, yeah, that's going to look very nice. Like I said, I'm doing this to go with my turtle, which I lost or broke the chain for. It's been a long time since I've worn it, so that is going to look absolutely gorgeous, is it not? And that really does just look like a genuine chain. Very pretty. So yeah, obviously I've got a long way to go. That's not anywhere near long enough to go around my neck yet, so I'm just going to keep going and just measure the length you want and simply keep going like that. And I'll meet you back when I get to the end and show you how you can add your clasp. I've also got another pattern for a kind of a ropey chain that's slightly thicker than this one, I guess, because this is a particularly slim chain. But you can do this with 11/0 seed beads. You don't have to use 15s, but of course it's not going to look so fine and so delicate as this if you do it with the 15/0s. So yeah, just keep going like that until you reach your desired length, and it really does, look at that, falls lovely, sits lovely, lays lovely, just feels so light as well, just absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, can't wait to finish that and get the clasp on. Right, meet me back when you get to the end. Okay, so I've finally got to the length that I need, which is quite long. So I'm going to thread my turtle on, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to get him off once I've got the clasps on the end. So I'm just going to thread him on. My turtle. Yeah, that looks really nice, doesn't it? Sorry about the artificial light, it's just a bit dim out there today, so yes, not enough light. Right, so how's that in focus? Should we get a bit closer? So yeah, if you've got to the end, you're coming out your last two. Now, given that I'm making this up as I'm going along, because I've not done this before, so especially not using these, I thought I'd use the thread protectors. Quite sure. I think I'm just going to add a bead and then my thread protector. Right, so let's add a bead. So I want something to sit against the, yeah, that'll sit against the thread protector nicely. So I'm going to slide that on. And also at the same time, I'm going to put my split ring. I don't like using the jump rings where you have to pinch them together, because they always let my work down and they seem to break or come open, whereas the split rings are a lot stronger. So also, as well as adding that, see how that's going to sit, and then I'm going to go out the other side. But I want some little seed beads around the edge of my thread protector to make it look a bit prettier. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not sure if 8's going to be enough. Let's just try, shall we? And see how that sits. So I'm going to get tangled up now. Hang on, I'm tangled around my scissors. Right. Let's pull that all down. Right, so I want to see if that's enough seed beads. That's too many. No, I think that should be okay. Right, so let's get that ring back in there. Pick up your split ring or jump ring. If you can use your jump ring, you can put your jump ring on afterwards. So, like I say, I like the split rings. So I'm going to put that through there. So it's already on. Makes life a lot easier than trying to put it on afterwards. So, got my split ring on, and I'm going to go down through the other side of my thread protector. Knowing my luck, I'll get through the other side and realise that's too many seed beads for the edge, but I hope not. Right, and then I'm going to put it down gently and let those 15 O's just sit on the thread protector like that. No, that's the right amount. See how they're sitting on there? And then it'll be easier to see when I do the other side, because I won't, I will have a jump ring. And pull that down. It's going to sit like so. I'm going to take one more of my seed beads, and then I'm going to go back through those 2 beads we started in. Pull it all tight. There we go. Just going to sit like that. Just like that. And then I'm going to go back up and just reinforce the whole thing now. So, where am I coming out of? It's very fiddly because it's all 15 O's coming out there. So I want to go back up that first seed bead there and the thread protector. And then through those seed beads on the top. So I think we might have to do that a few at a time. Through that one. Through the base of the thread protector. Oh, now let it go, look. So up through there. It's quite fiddly because it's all 15 O's, I'm afraid. Do not tangle up your threads like me. Pop that in there, and then I'm going to go back up these 15 O's and tighten everything off and secure it. So really I'm just going back around all the beads I've just added. So come up the thread protector. Up the 15 O's, so. I mean, you might not have one of these thread protector things. You might decide just to put your, you could just sew your ring straight in through your beads. I'm actually making this up as I go along, so hopefully it's going to turn out okay. This is the first time I've done a chain, so. I have found a design for another chain which might be a little bit easier than this one, because it is quite tricky and quite a long process. Through my split ring, down through the other side of that thread protector and through that bead there, underneath it, and tighten that all off. See how that just makes that thread protector look a little bit prettier? Not quite so. So I find them quite ugly really, to be fair. Don't actually like the look of them very much. And then I'm going to go back through those 2 beads that we finished on there in that last row. So you're going through those, and then I've got 1 bead either side of my thread protector, the thread protector, and then the split ring. It's a bit fiddly getting them all attached, but once you get them on and they tighten up, look, that looks really pretty, makes a nice ending to the chain. Right, so I'm going to go through that one more time. Through that tiny bead that we first added, first 15-0 and up through the side bar of the thread protector, or wire protector, whatever they're called, and then through the 15-0s on the top. And this is why it's important to use a 12 needle. Mine's a bit old and bent. I really need some new size 12 needles, to be fair. They're very bent because they're so thin. They need to be, if you're going to pass through these 15-0s more than once, and I'd like to go through them 3 times, possibly 4, however many times I can get through them really, because this is your clasp. This is the area that's going to be taking a little bit of strain compared to the rest of the necklace. This is what's, yeah, going to be taking the worst of the pressure and the wear and tear. So it's nice to have a nice strong clasp area. And one last time through there. Right, fabulous. And then I'm going to try and do a couple of little knots in between before I go through that bead on that thread bridge. Just tie a few knots, and like I say, go around that as many times as your needle will go without obviously breaking any beads. But yeah, I'm just going to do some knots so that I can tie off my thread. I'm going to do another knot right there too, just to be sure. Do a surgeon's knot, which means just go through that twice on the second one. On your second knot, go through your loop twice and pull tight. We call it a surgeon's knot. I don't know if surgeons really do it, but then through that seed bead, one we first added down there at the end. There we go. Oops, I got caught there. We don't want to do that. And then through the 2 beads that are the end of our chain, like so. See how pretty that looks with the beads on. Looks nice, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that. Right, then I'm going to do another knot here. And basically just carry on like that. Do a few knots, secure your work, and then you can cut that thread. Just remember to pull your knot up through the bead before you cut your thread. You want to tuck your knots inside the beads. I reckon I can go through one more time. So I'm going to leave you there, reinforce, tie your knots, and finish off the end there. And then we'll do the other end, and that will be the end, finished. Okay, for the other end of my clasp, I'm using a lobster clasp, and I've used a couple of split rings on there as well. So I'm going to take my thread protector and go up through my thread protector like so. That's why it's important to leave a good decent tail on your, oh no, I want a bead first, sorry about that guys. Yeah, leave a decent tail when you start your work, because you're going to need it to attach your clasping. And you may need to add thread throughout your work, which is, I'll explain that in a sec when I've done this, because I've got focus. It's pretty tricky, but I did manage it. So right, so I'm going to add one bead underneath my thread protector like so, and go up one side of it and pull, and that will pull down to where it's coming out of those. We've got the 2 beads here where we finished, or started rather. Then we're going to add our 8 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. all in the 15s that we've been using, not changing sizes or anything. And then we need to go down through the thread protector, but we also need to add this little piece. So I've used 2 of my split rings, but you can use a jump ring and add it afterwards. You can use a jump ring or just 1 split ring. You know, you can attach just your lobster clasp directly to the thread protector, put that through the thread protector, or you can do it directly, sew your lobster claw just with a couple of beads to the end if you don't have any of these things. So you can still finish your chain off, even if you don't have all the bits that I'm using, because you don't have to have thread protectors, and you don't have to have any of this. You could just add, yeah, like I say, add 1 bead and then directly add your lobster claw after your bead, and then another bead, and then just go through those 2 beads on the end of your chain by adding a bead, the lobster, and another bead, and just go round. You don't have to have all this. I just think it might finish it off quite nicely. Yeah, let's see how it looks. It's not, this is just for me as a way of repairing my turtle so that I can wear it at all. So, a bit of an experiment really. There's the 2 top beads there, and that's the bead I added, so I need to add 1 more bead and go back through the 2 last beads of the chain, like so, and pull, and that should have a loop to my thread there. Just look under my magnifier a sec. No, I haven't. Silly me. Right, so now we've gone back through. We're going to reinforce that several times and then go ahead and do our knots. I think I managed to get through the other side at least 4 times, maybe 5, I can't remember. These are incredibly thin, very good quality size 12 needles. So you will need a size 12. These are extremely skinny. As you can see how they bend. After a time of using them, they do get quite bent. So I'm back through my loop, so that's around under there. Go through these 15 O's on my wire protector. Just go through a couple at a time, don't have to try and force it round. Nice and neat is more important than speed. And it's supposed to be relaxing and therapeutic and fun. It's not meant to be stressful or put you under pressure, or, yes, there's no rush. So, and yeah, if you're in a rush, just don't take on this project at all, because it took me ages, I have to say. It was long. So you can see now we've gone all the way round. We're back to the 2 first beads we added. So I'm going to start by doing a knot here. A nice easy place to do my first knot. Oh, I've pulled it off the needle, right, I'm going to have to rethread that, but there. Do your first knots, do a knot, work your way round, do another couple of knots, work your way around, just as many times as you feel comfortable, and obviously without breaking any beads. Just going to thread that on and finish. And there you have it. One beautiful chain. Clasp is quite big on the end. You could do those with just ordinary jump chains or jump rings, or whatever you want. But I think that looks really nice. Feels lovely. Falls nicely. You can see it just sits lovely, and those ends look really nice, as you can see. They do look nice with the wire protectors. And yes, if you run out of thread during your project, it was very fiddly. I ran out of thread somewhere around about that length. And all I did was, before I ran out, I had quite a tail left. What I did was I tried very carefully with a new piece of thread and just followed, which is very tricky because you've got to follow the thread. If you follow the thread and weave it through a couple of times, and then I tied it to the thread that was hanging out, and then I continued with that thread, and then after I'd finished, there was obviously 2 tail ends. I wove the tail ends in, just following the beaded path, and did some gentle knots as I went through. I should have done that on video, but I was making it up as I went along. So yeah, it is a little tricky adding thread, which you might need to do depending on the length. I mean, if you just want to do a little chain for your wrist, something like that, which would look extremely pretty, you won't need to add thread. But if you want it as long as I have, I've made it really quite long. I should have measured it, I'm not sure how long, but it is a long chain. So yeah, that's all there is to it. So if you stuck with it to the end and you've actually made a chain, well done you, because it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy. I didn't find it easy. The beads are very, very small. I think I need new glasses, to be fair. Once I get some new glasses, I might attempt another, because there are lots of chains I'd like to try. But I found it very tricky because of my eyes, so maybe I need new glasses. I'm going to go and have an eye test. But there you go, guys. Happy beading, enjoy. I hope that, you know, was clear enough and explained everything. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your beading. Hope I've inspired you. Bye, everybody.